We are live. Welcome to Dungeons, Dragons, and Discourse. I am half your host, Eric Tenkar. With me, as always, every other Friday is Glenn Hallstrom, Old Man Grognard.
Hi,
and
folks.
With us today is Jayson Elliot. I guess we would say TSR 2.0.
Right now you would, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
We'll just go with that for the moment. That's cool.
Yeah, best known for Gygax Magazine and Top Secret New World Order. So if you wanted, and I'm sorry, folks, I'm trying to keep track of all the comments. Let's wave to Mark Hunt.
Hey, Mark. Oh, is that Mark Hunt?
Hey, Mark.
Mark
my
Hunt.
bud. Yeah, my bud.
All right,
James
hey,
Carpio.
James.
A lot of folks.
Mary. I'm just gonna yell names throughout this whole I'm gonna do. George. All right, George made it. He was feeling sick, and now he's here. George is a pro wrestler, guys. Do not mess with him.
Oh, geez. All right. Well, that's I will keep that in mind. I prefer to pick fights with people I could probably take. And
George runs the old school TSR gamers group on Facebook. It's a really big group of really good gamers.
All right. I thought I recognized the name. I'm glad to see George here. We actually have spoken. So not face to face, but on Facebook. And good to see him here. Yes. All right.
I said this doesn't mean anything, but I need to start by saying, at last, Mr. Elliot, we finally meet.
Dun. Yes, we're going to be telling a story.
You don't know it, but we go back a bit. You don't know it.
We do.
We go back a bit. Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
people have been talking to me again.
You're both Californians, right? I mean, geez.
I was thinking more like Wild Game Productions.
Oh,
yeah.
Wait. That's something that we all have in common right now. Okay, and I think
that's right.
Vince Florio is the nexus that brings us all together.
Oh, that's a cool nexus.
Yeah, it's a really, it's one of those nexuses where, and before we even delve into this, for those at home that don't know, Vince and I, before we were friends, Glenn, what were we, Vince and I, before we were friends?
Enemies?
Yes. We were two New Yorkers that would have pissed on the other person, just for the sake of saying I pissed on
he's a New Yorker. He was a New Yorker living in Philly.
Yeah, outside of Scranton, I guess. But yeah. He Glenn actually played the peacemaker on that one, which got the two of us from doing this shit to going, all right, I'll take a step back if you take a step back. And we both did and went, oh, you're not half the asshole I thought you were. Oh, okay. It's like
nobody wants to be half an asshole.
No. You
got to be a full asshole, really.
Right. Really, what can you do with half an asshole? It really, it kind of holds you back.
And this is indirectly. He is indirectly responsible, for getting me into podcasting. Where I threw a few things onto RFI, and you guys liked it. And next thing I know, Vince is calling me up saying, "Hey, you want to do a TUI show?"
Yeah.
And
Vince and I met through Dragon's Foot. It was just really funny. We both had the same idea for doing the same podcast. And since we were both posting about it on Dragon's Foot at the same time, we just made it one show.
Well, that's cool because you know what? Vince actually, since we're talking about Vince's ego was going to go through the fucking roof.
Oh yeah, his ears are burning right now.
Yeah, but Vince got me into podcasting, and actually the first podcast I appeared on was at North Texas when I think Vince and Glenn dragged me over for like a quick 10-minute interview, and all I remember was,
"That's right."
Wow, I sounded like shit because everything I said was
that was like an hour and a half for 10 minutes.
Yeah, no, it was. I swear to God, it was for somebody who used to have to do like, public appearances and teach, uh, cops, detectives, people who outranked me 40 or 50 at a time, actually having to talk in front of a mic and they go, wow, I mean, 100 people or more could actually listen to this. I'm going to sound like such an asshole. Crap. So.
And he was,
and
yes.
I probably was, I will fully admit to that. So, on the topic of assholes, no, that's not really the...
What's the agenda tonight?
Yeah, let's get a plan.
Well, listen, as our regular listeners know, we don't really have much of an agenda usually. However, we do have some announcements that Jayson is going to make. But I think before we get to the announcements, we have to lay a little groundwork as to why we are making such announcements.
Yeah,
right?
Do it.
All right, so
Eric, you are like the chronicler of the OSR. I think like you always get all of the facts in a proper order. So here we go.
Well, I don't know, because usually what happens with me is that I have the facts and then I have all the information that I'm not allowed to disclose, and I got to make sure I can keep the two sides separate. But going back, this story for me actually starts in 2012, because Joe the lawyer and myself are sitting down with Tavis Allison after going to the Complete Strategist in Manhattan. It was late October. Tavis. Yes, it was late October, and we were playing the Dungeon board game in a bar, which is a beautiful way to spend your bar time. And it was the night before, I guess, Hurricane Sandy. And Tavis dropped the news and swore Joe and I to absolute secret that Jayson Elliot had acquired the trademark that was abandoned to TSR and was going to be announcing a project in the relatively near future. And then the hurricane hit. We had a blackout. I was without a day off for like 3 weeks, working 12, 14, 16-hour days. And I totally didn't even think about the stuff I shouldn't talk about because I had no time to think about it. And next thing I know, there was an announcement announcing Gygax Magazine. And I went to that, holy shit, I somehow forgot about something I shouldn't have mentioned and didn't mention. Yes. So now Gygax
I got Magazine, 2 of those.
Oh, I mean... They are
They're rare.
Beautiful magazine. They are. I was actually at the premiere at the Brooklyn Strat.
Yes, that was a fun time. That's in fact when I met Peter Bryant, one of my partners now in our company. Was at the Brooklyn Strat. He was videoing it for it.
Yeah, that was the first time I actually got to meet Joe Block face to face, the Greyhawk Grognard. So I was, and the line was huge, man. That was.
Oh, huge.
I was like. Yeah, I was like, I felt like I was like going to a Ramones concert back in like the mid '80s, because it was everybody that would have been online, just 25, 30 years older. So it's like, oh, okay, these are certainly my people.
Okay, and got it, Rich.
So I remember that
it was a great day.
It was a spot on day, and then. Gygax Magazine. I happen to know that you can't discuss much when it comes to why Gygax Magazine.
I'll talk about what I'm allowed to talk about. You can ask me things, and I'll say I know where the guardrails are. So
Okay. All right. So, what the public understands, and by the way, I was told to qualify my statement when I said that. Gail sued you over the trademark. I was corrected and told, no, she filed a legal action against you over the trademark. When I say you,
it actually was TSR. The other way around, to tell you the truth. Actually, we sued her.
Oh, okay.
That's something people get wrong sometimes because it's complicated. Talking about that stuff, it gets so nuanced. Yeah, I mean, I can tell you what I can tell you if you want.
Yeah, she got bent when I used the word that she sued. And she's like, no, it was a legal action, and you have
There's
to
no
correct your
difference.
blog post. Well, I believe my dealings with Gail are pretty much open to see. You can do a search on the blog and find just search Gail Gygax, folks, if you ever want to go down a rabbit hole. It's one hell of a
I'll tell
rabbit
you
hole.
there. So I'm not going to say anything at all about Gail because that's not
I know.
what we're here to talk about or anything. But I can give you just the basic facts of it, which was that Gygax Magazine. We had the TSR trademark, and this is something we're probably going to talk about more tonight in terms of what is a trademark and what isn't. But with the trademark, there's two ways that it can exist. You can either register it with the U.S. Trademark Office, and you get that little circle R, which we did with TSR. Or you can just use it in commerce. In every state that you use it in, you get what's called a common law trademark by using it in that state. So, we were selling Gygax Magazine in all 50 states of the United States. So the fact that it existed already meant that we had a common law trademark for it. And Gail was looking for a way to stop us from using the name Gygax Magazine, even though it's, Luke and Ernie Gygax.
Right.
And so after a whole lot of different things that she tried, what she finally settled on was she filed a trademark for the name Gygax Magazine. And we said, well, hold on a second. We've already got that. We already do it. We already use it. And I thought it would be as simple as going to the trademark office and saying, look, this is it. It's been around for years. Step off. Turns out it's incredibly complicated. You got to get lawyers going every which way. You have to actually file against the other person to stop them from doing it. It became this big mess. And at the end of the day, we settled out of court because I am not a big corporation. This money was coming out of my pocket. It was hurting me personally. And, Luke and Ernie were just like, listen, we can't be getting involved with any agreements because this is our name. So they did the right thing and they stepped away from it. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to do a magazine called Gygax Magazine if there's no Gygaxes involved. That's kind of lame.
You can't. No. It is.
So, we just said this we're done with this. And, that shut it down. So, I mean, technically we went after her and then we had to settle and we all had to stop doing everything. But, that's a nuanced, complicated thing. So we just say, you know what, there was a problem. We stopped.
Well, I mean, and it's changed. There were 6 issues of Gygax Magazine?
Yep.
Okay. Now, Gygax Magazine, I mean, the paper, as somebody who came into collecting Dragon magazines, I think issue 66 was the first one I found at my local B. Dalton's, and collected back then. The paper, the cover, they felt like the paper and cover of that era. You guys replicated that. I almost wanted to smell it and see if I could, spot on. Yeah, it really.
We even used to have fold-outs. So in this issue, we had the fold-out. This is the first time that anybody published Ernie's Memorial Tomb. This is where that started.
Oh, okay.
Was in here. So yeah, no.
Break out my issues now.
There's a reason that we had Tim Kask join us at the very beginning because he created the dragon in the first place. And I was like, he's the one that's going to tell us how to do it right. We were replicating an era of dragon that was from after he handed over the reins. So, we were more replicating the Roger Moore or Kim Mohan era, because that's, the part, I think you started with the same one. So I just thought those were the most, mature and beautiful before they kind of went and changed into something else. But yeah, we were very interested in copying the spirit of it. Yeah, we didn't, I mean, even if you look in the back, you've got the comics in the back, just, like the dragon. So we have, we had versions of, what do you call it? Order of the Stick that never appeared anywhere else, not online, not in books, only in Gygax Magazine. Things like that.
That's a pretty big snag.
Oh, it was great. We had Phil Foglio drawing for us. I mean, we had Len Lakofka.
That's right, you did.
His column. We really tried to bring back as much of the original feeling and spirit as we could while talking about new games that were out now. It was a ton of fun. I wish that this was a world where you could do that magazine forever. Well, and I mean, just without the issues that the company faced, isn't it hard to get to successfully publish an honest to God magazine? I'm not talking about Oh yeah.
The zines that people put out. I put out a zine, and even that takes me close to a year to get out 32 pages. I mean, you guys were putting out a full size Dragon-like magazine without the large employee base that classic era TSR had, and you guys were doing it. You did it for 6 months, and probably would have done it for a lot longer if it hadn't been for outside forces.
You know, honestly, it was my hubris. I thought that I could run that whole. Thought I could do it all by myself, and so I basically just didn't sleep for the whole time. It is really hard to do. I've published magazines before, and I know how hard it is, and I don't know why I'm stupid enough to try, but you know, at least it worked. But yeah, nowadays, I mean, in 2021, there's just the money's not there. You'd have to charge $25 an issue to make it worthwhile, because there's no advertising anymore.
Well, there's no advertising. People go to online material. Zines work because zines are on a budget that is extremely small, and people understand it. But to get the high quality magazine that when we were growing up, that Dungeon Dragon magazine, White Dwarf, Different Worlds, Space Gamer, Fancy Gamer.
But I'm going to grab something really quickly. Hold on a second here.
Shadis.
The thing is that...
Shadis.
Oh, God, yes. Shadis,
I mean,
Jolly.
Even,
Jolly Blackburn.
Even, for
Shadis
the Dragon,
magazine.
when it did not start out looking as good as it did, because, like, here's the first one, right? So, the first Dragons were very, very, they did their best, but I mean, it was nothing like it would eventually be. So, nobody starts out at the top of their game.
Yeah, handmade layouts, ditto machines. Well, I'm thinking of something else.
Yeah.
But,
Well, pretty much. I mean, the original, Dragons, the earlier issues, there were times where you could see where they laid it out. You could sometimes the edge would come off. When they would print it, you could actually see the column edge show up. I forget. I have, But
I was trying to find an example of what you're talking about, because you absolutely, it's like that. You can see, I mean, even like layout that was just done with a typewriter.
Yep.
So yeah. But I mean, but it's great because they're very punk rock kind of in a way to look at those old things.
Oh God, the early ones definitely. They and you could see. I mean, listen, I was blessed. I bought the Dragon magazine compendium, the one that got Woods of the Coast, I guess, into deep shit when they put out the CD collection of the first 250 issues of Dragon, and left in the Knights of the Dinner Table stuff they didn't have the rights to republish in a different format. So that's why Hackmaster came out. Because,
I want to answer David's question there. So David's asking, would we be able to do another magazine with a different name? And yeah, we would be allowed to. But the thing is that the expense and the time is so huge. You really need to have a crew on that. And the question is, can you sell enough really high quality magazines to make it worthwhile? I would love to give anybody a consultation if they want to start one. I'll help them, but I don't think that we would do it because that's a huge amount of money. So. Although there's a really cool one what's it called? Footprints or Footsteps? The ones that the guy at Dragon's Foot does?
Oh, yeah. They've been there for a while. It's not. I think it's for.
Are they still doing that?
He just did a new one with a really cool looking Beholder cover. I was impressed with it.
But they're not doing it in print either. So that's it's being done by volunteers.
PDF.
Yeah, if you're doing something with the hope of not losing money on it, it's difficult.
No. I mean, the thing is that
and PDF is a lot.
As much as we.
Go ahead, Glenn.
Yeah.
PDF.
Sorry.
No, I was just going to say PDF is a whole lot easier. Look at Vaults of Pandius with their magazines. It's like 200-page PDFs. That's nothing.
Well, as far as it's nothing in terms of cost, but it's a hell of a lot of work to make it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Well, yes, it is, but I'm mainly talking about cost here, because that's the big chunk of it right there.
I honestly think that podcasts are the new fanzines.
Oh, podcasts and vidcasts, certainly.
Yeah.
I mean, I started blogging over a dozen years ago, and of the blogs that influenced me when I came on the blogging scene, there's maybe two left.
Yeah.
You know, the others, have fallen to the wayside, and even the tavern has changed. I'm no longer posting 4 posts a day. I aim to get 1 up a day and keep that constant. But again, I use different mediums too. Changing to the video and putting the video, ripping the audio and getting the audio up on Anchor, because society changes. The way people read newspapers.
Yeah, I mean, a lot
anymore.
of it has to do with the speed that people are looking for information. So when I started doing zines, I was doing like punk rock, industrial goth stuff back in the 90s. And it's because we didn't really talk to anybody on the internet. Maybe you had Usenet, but like if you got a scene report from another city and it was 2 months late, that was still really cool. Like now you just, get on a Discord with them and you're right there. So you don't really need to have those anymore. Right. Now a zine is more about self-expression and doing something that's, kind of special for a zine.
Yeah, it's more about creativity and in the gaming field. I mean, Dragon Magazine, you'd read that for new releases and look, there's reviews, and now you get that online. You're looking for zines. You're looking for stuff that it's content. You're looking for gaming content, which is different than people were looking for. They were looking for that and more. I mean, I know I was always looking for the news. We didn't have news on gaming before it was in Dragon.
So Dave Rosser just mentioned Alarms and Excursions is still going. So this is, he's right. This is
it sure is
before the Dragon.
Lee Gold is still doing it.
Yep, and it's amazing because it's something we don't have anymore. It's an appa-zine, so every one of these zines is actually a whole bunch of people making their own little zines. They mail them into her. She staples together and sends them back out. It's really cool, and she's done it for 45 years.
I used to go to Pacificon, and I went to the auction and actually won like 2 big stacks of Alarms and Excursions back issues.
That's great.
Man, I wish I still had those. Those were great. It was a lot of fun. A lot of good stuff in there. I think Gary even wrote for it too.
I don't know if he liked that too much, because whenever he was writing screeds about people, messing with his game, it was usually people writing in Alarms and Excursions that were messing with his game.
Right. I think Gary read it for sure, because he wanted to know what people were doing, because if he wasn't reading it, he couldn't complain about what they were doing. So you have to know what your competition is up to.
I don't remember if this is true or not, but I feel like he wrote in a couple of times to Alarms and Excursions.
Well, if he didn't,
that's what I mean.
He probably wrote the letters in Dragon Magazine and addressed it to Alarms and Excursions, like, hey, it'll be content in my own magazine, and it'll be directed at A&A.
Yeah, but Lee is really amazing. So me and John Peterson went down to her house. That's like how I got mine. Is I just went over to her house and helped her clean out her garage, and she sold us a lot of the old ones at cheap that way. But she is just an unbelievable giant in the industry, and I feel like people need to know more about her. Yeah, no,
you're right. I have one issue of Alarms and Excursions somewhere. I picked it up on eBay and was reading it in bits and pieces, because it's disjointed. It's not like you're going to read through it, and it's like, like you said, it's other people doing work. It's collated together, and here you go. But to go back and try to get a complete collection of that, first off, I don't think I'd ever have enough room in my house and still be able to be married at least.
I've got a whole wall taking up mine. I don't even have a full run.
Yeah, you see, that would be the problem. Wow. Like, I already know.
But you know what? I think anybody who's watching this tonight should do this. If you go to their website, they'll sell you the PDFs for $2 each, going all the way back to number 1.
Really?
And they've got PDFs of every single issue ever, and they are amazing to read. It is really fun to read what nerds were saying in 1976 or whatever.
Wow, that's great because you can actually see the evolution of gaming.
That's
not
pre-me.
just well,
Unfiltered.
not just
Unfiltered.
Yeah, right. And that's you're gonna get to see how the community was reacting to stuff. You see it now. You can see it online, but then too, you would get to see the actual evolution. Social media, everything happens and it's right in your face, and it blows up. But back then, when we had edition wars, they took a long time to build up. And you'd have edition wars in one part. I mean, I gamed in two communities. I gamed in New York, and I gamed in New York City area, and I gamed in the Poconos. My family had a place up in the Poconos for summers and on weekends. And the way gaming was treated in those two different communities was totally different. Because you didn't have the internet. You didn't have the center location for these communities to get together and homogenize. So it was, and in retrospect, because I didn't think much of it, well, actually probably till now, but it was a greatly different experience. My group in Pennsylvania would have been very happy to play basic D&D. My group in New York, basic D&D was for babies. That's why it's basic. We're playing advanced.
Oh, it's funny. I don't think we knew the difference. We kept mixing them all up, and it took us forever to realize we're doing it wrong.
Oh, my first DM, Kenny, he had the DMG, and he ran me through a solo adventure he had written. I think I killed some skeletons or some crap like that. And then he had to call a friend at 10.6 cents a minute after the first 5 minutes to find out if. Remember when you get charged even for local phone calls? He had to call a friend from school to find out if I'd leveled up as my fighter. And I was close. The book. He didn't have the player's handbook. He had the Dungeon Master's guide. But we were all like, "Oh, this is advanced," and obviously we had to play advanced because you can't.
Yeah, it's advanced.
What 13-year-old would play a basic game? Look at that. Well, then you become expert. I'm advanced. I'm let the slow kids play that basic stuff. Come on, that's my sister. She's younger. She's 4 years younger. She can play it. I regret it now. I've seen it now. If you ask me, do I play advanced D&D or basic or one of their clones? I'm like, oh, give me a basic clone right off the bat, or break out the red basic book. I'll be happy. You learn as you get older, I guess. But I think
somebody just mentioned the Trove, and I just want to say whoever's doing the Trove should shut that shit down. Those guys are the worst.
The Trove is shut down at the moment. Or
good.
Shut down.
F them. F them.
When they moved their server to, I believe it's Iceland, and then my understanding is that. At least a mid-priced, if not high-priced, copyright lawyer was sicked on them by one of the publishers.
Good.
And Iceland is not part of the EU, so I think that's why they went to Iceland. So it made it a little bit more difficult to get things shut down. But they've been offline now for, I think, 2.5 weeks.
Because the thing is, that guy or those guys or whoever they are, they rip off They rip off indie publishers, people who are just, struggling to get by, and they just take their stuff and they throw it up there for free. And that's really lame.
So, yeah, no,
that's the sound of me biting my tongue.
Oh no, we all like to get cheap stuff, but it's the whole thing about the tabletop gaming hobby is that it's primarily indie creators making their own thing. They're barely earning a buck anywhere. It's it doesn't hurt that bad to give somebody a couple of dollars for all the hard work they
do. And I'll be honest with you, if you ask me, would you use something like the Trove to get, I don't know, early issues of White Dwarf? Yes, I would. You can't find them anywhere; they're not available.
Yeah, I think that's a different. You're right. That's a different situation.
Would I use the Trove to get Tom Wilson's Back to Basics zine, which, by the way, Tom's Kickstarter is going right now for the compilation? No, because it's available. It's out there.
Funded.
And
Yeah, I
can
just back the Kickstarter. That I'm excited about that.
You know, you can actually support the creator. I can't support Games Workshop
Right.
isn't even publishing anything that's RPG related. It's still licensed out. So and they're not making these PDFs available. If they're making the PDFs available, it's one thing. So that's kind of where my moral line goes. And I understand for everybody, it's a different moral line. I'm not here to judge anybody. You know, I am like, and when it comes to small publishers, I am a small publisher. I've only got 4 products out. Only got 2 that have a cost. And listen, if you wanted to get that for free, I'd rather you reach out to me and say, hey, listen, I'd like to look at your stuff and maybe do a review. Sure, I'll send you a copy for free. I'd rather you ask than you just take. That's just my opinion.
Well, coming out of the zine world in the 90s like it did, we had a lot of things that everybody just kind of certain behaviors people obeyed. And one of the things was, for example, prisoners always got free magazines. Like whenever somebody would write to us and be like, hey, I'm in jail, I got busted for pot, and can I get a copy of your magazine? We'd just send it to them for free. You know, and I think if somebody said, look, I really like your stuff, but I'm on a tight budget, I'm poor. Yeah, fine, have one for free. Like you said, if you ask, if you have a legitimate thing and you ask, but don't just steal.
Yeah,
but you're right. I mean, there's like archive.org. That's really good because you can go there. It's like a library, things that are valuable to culture that, should be preserved, like Old White Dwarf or something. Yeah. That's a different situation.
Yeah. And again, that's where I draw my line.
Fair.
But again, I'm the person that's backed like 550 Kickstarters. So obviously, I like to support the creators of my community. I with the exceptions of the Ken Whitmans and the Gareth Skarkas and a few others, the vast majority not just produce, but they produce amazing stuff. That's the reason why I back them. If I was turned off by the handful of people that fucked up, I wouldn't be somebody that backed 4 Kickstarters in the last 3 days because there's all these great Kickstarters kicking off in the gaming community, and you're like, I need more money.
I've had one full track record with Kickstarter. There's one that has yet to fulfill. Everything else I've backed 15, 16, and I just backed Back to Basics and 3 Hyperborea. I know that's going to fulfill.
Yeah.
But I said, I've only got one guy that hasn't fulfilled yet, and that's it. So I've got a pretty good track record on there.
I guess
I just know how to pick them.
Well, back in the early days of Kickstarter, it was the Wild West. All you needed was an idea, and you minted money. And some people
that was bad for the creators too, because if you go on there with something and nobody knows how hard it is to make something, so that's why when we've done Kickstarter before, we only do it when the product's done, because if you do it when you're still in an idea stage, you're just setting yourself up for a whole world of hurt.
Yeah. I mean, the successful Kickstarter creators these days, like I said, Joe Block, it's all written. All he's kickstarting for is to fund the artwork. He's already, it's all done. That's the kind of project. At least at the very least, have your draft done before you start saying, "Put money in my pocket." Because again.
It's like Ken Whitman. I honestly believe that Ken Whitman would start his projects with the best of intentions. Like he meant to actually do them. It's just that he didn't know what he was doing. I mean, I don't know. I don't know the guy. The first I heard of him was when he was starting to fail with all his Kickstarters. So maybe he was different at the beginning. But yeah, I think somebody like Ken Whitman, he meant to do it, but it turns out it's a lot harder to make things than people think.
Oh yeah. Well, the problem with Ken and his Kickstarters is that once he realized that people would pretty much give money for any silly idea, like, "Ooh, pencil dice. Ooh,
right, pencil dice
with your pencil is 6-sided anyway, right? But let me get We'll put tips on it. Oh, look, we'll get pencil dice with Traveler on them. Oh, look at that! Then people are going to be really excited. We're gonna, a dice deck. But what really got me was with the Knights at the Dinner Table live action series, where Ken was promising stuff that wasn't getting done, and was using the equipment that was bought with that money on side projects, which we're taking precedence from. So, but Kenny is a special type of person, and I'm sure Kenny watches everything that gets mentioned with his name. So I'm sure he'll tune into this when somebody goes, Kenny Tenkar was talking about you. So
well, like I said, I don't know him personally, so I have no way to say anything about him personally.
No,
he probably meant well, but then screwed up.
Yeah, I don't know. I look at Kenny's track history
several times.
His history before Kickstarter.
It's like, it's not a question of do you make a mistake or do a bad thing, but do you repeat it? It's kind of like if you got somebody who's like always causing trouble, like I'm sorry. Okay, you're sorry once. How many times are you going to be sorry?
My understanding is he had. Go ahead.
Case in point, Mike and I stole.
Oh, Mike.
He's still. Yeah, Mike did that, and it totally blew up in his face. He said, "I'm sorry." If he gave the money back or whatever, however it is, but he never did another one.
Well, no, Mike didn't have any money to give back. But in the case of Mike fell on the sword. He did say, I'm a horrible business person.
Yes, he did fall on the sword.
And he goes, anybody who ever gives me money again for a business venture is out of their mind.
I mean, my Austin friends still think he's right up there with the rest of the TSR guys. So, learn from that what you will.
Well, again, if you see your mistakes, and you can't always fix your mistakes, but at least if you own up to them, that is certainly a huge start. And Mike owned up to it.
If you just show, I think if you just show people, when you go to make an apology, you show, I get what I did wrong, and here's how I'm not going to do it wrong again. If you can make amends for it, that's great too. But at least being able to say, like, I did this thing that I learned from it. I'm not going to do it again, and here's how. That's a real apology.
Yeah. Stephen Fowler makes a good point. Tabletop RPG gamers are skinflints now, because he's right. You'll slap down $100 every year for new video game systems, or hundreds, and folks have an issue buying game books. They want stuff for free, or they believe that every PDF should be free.
That's true.
You know what? I'm not arguing that point, man. But I'm the person that doesn't buy a game system when they come out. I tend to wait a couple of years for that generation to go down in price and increase in availability. But I buy the newest game material when it comes out. And I've been doing that since I was 18. So I think I'm an addict.
Right.
I think
you could become very discriminating.
I think I need intervention.
I became very discriminating.
We're trying to learn from this. We're trying to learn from this a bit. So, we have the big things like, we've got like this. Here's a $60 box set with all the goodies. But we I know you did. We also have a whole bunch of $5 games, So we put out things in zine size that you can get for $5. So, people can be skinflints if they need to. And then we hope that they will like it so much that they'll buy more expensive things later.
Well, yeah,
so, I don't know.
You don't build
I hope so.
Game collection without being cheap, without not being cheap.
Yeah, basically.
I'm known as Old Man Grognar, but my other one is Cheap Bastard.
Well,
that's the other thing. Is like, I love that digest size of stuff, So this was the original way that things were made. Was digest.
Oh God, yeah.
So that's the other thing. I love digest size books. They are so fun.
Oh, the digest
Wargamers had the right idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? It's something that you could throw in your bag. You could slip it into your textbook. Nobody had to even know if you were reading that in class. I'm not saying I did any of that.
Should I show the Gygax digest size one that people will totally misinterpret?
Sure.
This was one that Gary Gygax. It's an alternate history one. The reason it's on there is about military history, but it's a really cool little alternate history about what would happen if the Germans had won World War II, like from a military perspective. It's fun. Weird little things. But I definitely don't leave it sitting out because people don't know it's about World War II. They think it's about Nazis.
Obviously. Okay,
Yeah, gotta be
Eric.
careful.
Eric, go ahead. Give him the disclaimer.
Listen, everybody that's listening to this is likely an adult. If you're not an adult, you've heard me curse, so you're already screwed.
No, I mean what Jonathan's saying there.
I know. Make your own adult choices. Okay. Again, I don't endorse.
Okay.
I don't endorse piracy. However, like I said, I told you an instance in which I would love to, because I haven't found any of the White Dwarfs online. But if I did, now would I prefer them in print? Certainly, but
Well, hey, the First Amendment lets you say things like you're saying. You're not doing anything.
Right. I'm not saying everybody rush out there and do it. I'm just saying this is something that people do.
Yeah, I know. I agree. I think there is a moral difference between looking for a PDF of something that can't be found anywhere else, because it's old and historical, versus taking money out of a creator's pocket right now. I think there's a difference. Yeah.
And I literally refuse to take money out of a creator's pockets, because that is the community that keeps on making new stuff for those of us that, as a consumer, I like to consume, enjoy, purchase, read, collect. And if people aren't supporting it, if everybody's going to steal the material, I mean, it's like if you're taking something that's a PDF of a brand new product that's still for sale, it's like literally the same thing as going into a bookstore and stealing magazines off the shelf. Yep. Maybe when you were 14, you stole that Playboy. Maybe that was what a 14-year-old did. But you're all adults now. You got to make a moral choice. Besides, nobody would have sold you a Playboy at 14. Well, actually, there was one store that would have, but that's besides the point.
Yeah.
God help us. So now, we've discussed Gygax Magazine. Top Secret New World Order was really the next big project with Merle.
So and I'm going to plug that. I'll hold it up.
Yep. I play tested that at North Texas.
We just saw that. We just saw him a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Merle is like the nicest gentleman in gaming I think I've ever met.
He is. I think he deserves that title. He really is.
There's very. I'm trying to think if anybody. There's something that might come close, but Merle's special.
Yeah, no, I can think of a lot. I could start naming lots of people who are super nice and I like them, and we'd be here all day and I'd leave somebody out and that would be bad. But but Merle really was my gaming hero when I was a kid, more than anybody else. Top Secret was my favorite game, even more than D&D, because I loved that you could play modern stuff in it. So getting a chance to, because I basically brought Merle back into the game industry. I looked him up and said, let's do Top Secret together. And he came back for that. And then turns out he's every bit as prolific and genius as he ever was. And now he's writing for all kinds of people. And there's so much good stuff. If you see anything with Merle's name on it, usually it's like Goodman Games or Frog God or us, buy that because it's great.
Yep. No. Merle is spot on. And I always love to see him at a convention. He's always he's always so gracious.
Well, people are always surprised because he's really young for being somebody from the first wave, because he was still in college when he started making Top Secret. So, he was like a teenager when he started this. So he's still really young. And so he's still at his prime top of his game when it comes to making the stuff.
Yeah, no, you're right. So now, and Top Secret is in PDF. By the way, folks, if you steal this game and it's in PDF, you're just a moron, because you guys are giving away the core rules for free.
We were during the pandemic. We stopped doing it.
Okay. Oh, you did stop doing that, because I was like, how can you not grab these rules? I mean,
they're still cheap. They're still $10 on DriveThruRPG.
Yeah,
but I will say this. Yes. I will say one way you can get them legally for free from us, which is we're going to put this post up this weekend. We're trying to encourage people to write adventures of their own. If somebody writes an adventure for it, we will put it on our website. We'll link to it, and we'll give you a free copy of the PDF so that you know what the rules are when you want to write it. And we won't take a dime. We just want people to write adventures for it.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, there's some really good people already doing it as like more like proper big published kind of things. There's some great stuff that's out there already. So, I just think it's cool to see people trying different things. So we'll give you a free copy of the PDF if you say, I want to write an adventure. Just, it's honor system, please really be meaning to write an adventure.
Got it.
Well, that's spot on. That's really cool. All right. So now,
Yeah.
I figured now we'll hit the elephant in the room, or run over the
money
elephant,
shot?
or yeah. Well,
there's a guy back there. So, can we talk about TSR now?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
So, I found out about this trademark. I don't know, lapse, fiasco, shenanigans, assholery. When the Dungeon Hobby Shop Museum started posting in October that they had the TSR trademark, and they were posting logos of the classic era TSR graphic trademarks.
Yeah.
And when I, in my normal rain's really coming down, when I started talking with, I'm not going to say my good friend Justin Lanasa, because I can't say that and keep a straight face. When I started talking with Lanasa, he was telling me, well, I don't need the trademark because I've got I registered these trademarks in the state of Wisconsin. And I was like, all right, well, my understanding of trademarks is not huge. I understood common law, and I understood state trademarks. But I'm like, but state trademarks are only within the state, and somebody already has the federal trademark. Your state trademark isn't worth shit. Because he was trying not to reveal that he had the federal trademark or registered for it because it had lapsed, and but he couldn't help playing his hand because he likes the attention that he was getting. So one of the taverners was nice enough to look up and say, "Hey, actually, he's filed for it. Somehow it lapsed." And at which point, Justin and I became much more acquainted with each other. With Justin threatened me with legal action, which
I saw the screenshots.
I get very entertained by that because it's been done numerous times. I mean, a mutual acquaintance of ours.
It's just foreplay. It's just foreplay.
Yeah, well, a mutual acquaintance of ours, whose initials are GG, also threatened me with legal action. So I was like, I must be doing something right. Lake Geneva loves me. But taking out the general assholery, from your perspective, what happened?
All right. Well, I'm not going to say anything about Lanasa because I don't know him. I've never met him in person. So, just thanks to the person who just said Top Secret had a beautiful cover. I just want to show it up one more time. So me and Brendan Mira and his wife Jenny, we put a lot of work into doing this together. That's a thing we staged ourselves. That's Brendan's service weapon right there. We took the serial numbers off of it so nobody could tell.
Oh,
anyway,
nice.
Yeah. Anyway, so from my perspective, what happened was I don't know how we missed the filing date. Maybe I missed an email from my registered agent or my lawyer or something. Who knows, right? I'm not going to make an excuse. I'm just going to say I missed the date. I'm not going to get into why why I didn't see the email or something. But whatever. So I missed the date, and I didn't find out that I'd missed the date until, of course, I saw somebody sending me links to like, hey, these other guys said that they registered it, and blah blah blah. And I'm like, well, legally, there's nothing you can do about that because it's common law. We've got it. So I'll just give this guy a call. And I'll just say, hey, I don't know if you know, but, we've been doing this. You might be new to the gaming industry. You might be new to the hobby. Maybe you don't know anybody. Nobody told you this thing existed, but all you got to do is Google it. We're right there. That didn't go so well. And so that phone call didn't go so well. So I just sort of thought, well, let's let it go for now. Let's see if this person that I've never heard of before does anything with it or not.
Right.
Because I've had plenty of people come to me and say, I've got big plans for big things, and then you never hear from them again. And then the last time we really heard anything about it was very recently when he did the big push online, you know, kind of blowing all over the place, like, oh, look, we got the logos, we're going to do everything. And what really kind of got me was then he was saying, anybody who wants them, you can use them too. And I'm just sitting here going, okay, well, the first thing I want to really clarify is there's a big difference between those logos and what we do. So what those guys have done is they've taken the original TSR logos from Gary Gygax's company, from Brian Bloom's company, from back in the day, and they registered those logos for themselves, and they're actually saying, you know, hey, we are this company and everything else, and okay, whatever. That's very different from anything we ever did. So when I registered the TSR trademark, first of all, I registered it in 2011, honestly on a whim. You know, it was one of those things where, oh, it's lapsed. I wonder what would happen. Would they let me get it? And then, you know, I spent some money and I got it. And I was like, crap, now what do I do? You know, like, what do you do with this thing? So that's why I went to Luke and Ernie, you know, because I'm like, hey, you guys, if anybody deserves to have this, it's you guys. So, you know, we did all that. But from the beginning, even though we had, you know, Luke and Ernie Gygax and Tim Kask and Frank Menser was working with us and a whole bunch of other people. I'm not going to start dragging names into it, but a lot of original, what do you call it, TSR people. We did not ever want to pretend we were the old company because we weren't. You know, we didn't have the IP, we didn't have the copyrights. The only thing we ever said is this is a tribute. You know, this is kind of a way of, hey, wouldn't it be fun if you could buy something with a TSR logo on it again? That'd be kind of neat. And so to that end, one of the things we did, I was reaching around to see if I had a copy of the logo, but it's really small. I don't want to, you know, whatever. But the point is that, well, you can kind of see the logo if I close in on the box. It's not a logo that was ever used by the original company. We made a brand new logo because we did not own the copyright to the art for those old ones. And even if we could get it, I didn't want anybody thinking that we were basically claiming stolen valor. You know, I don't want people thinking that I want to ride on somebody else's coattails. We're like, look, if we make things that you like and you like these games, you should buy them. It's fun that it says TSR, but that's just it. It's just fun. That's all it is. So, you know, at that point, this other company saying we're going to, you know, really be the old TSR and whatever. I got nothing to say about how they want to approach those things, but the trouble for us is now it creates confusion because we're doing business in all 50 states. You know, we've got common law seniority in all 50 states. We have this company called TSR. We put things out under this name. If suddenly there's a whole lot of other products that also say TSR that are new, not the original ones, not the old company that doesn't exist anymore, but these new ones where suddenly people are coming to me and saying, are you doing this? Is this your company making it? So now it's confusion. And at that point, that's where it becomes a problem for me. It has nothing to do with, you know, anybody being, you know, happy or sad or glad or mad or anything like that, or money or anything else. It's just a simple thing of how do I represent what I'm doing, you know, with this company called TSR, that's a new company, when there's all this other swirl going around about something else. And let's forget about any controversy about what anybody said in an interview or online or anything like that, although that's a whole nother thing. It kind of hurts our reputation. But it's just super confusing to people. And now we're kind of in a situation where no matter what, people are confused. That's just what it is. It's confusing.
Oh, God, yeah. Now, the TSR 3.0 actually commissioned new artwork for all of those logos. And if you do look at them side by side, you can see slight. I'm not saying what they did.
I don't know. I'd love somebody to show me the difference between them. Yeah.
Literally, it is like changing the direction of a curl or moving a star on the wizard's hat. It is that small.
It's kind of like if I published Lord of the Rings, but I took out 3 commas and I said, "Hey, I retyped it."
And it's not the same. You know, I'm not disagreeing with you.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you what I'm not saying the excuse, but what I was I guess, explained, or the explanation that I was led to understand. Not that I.
And I should say, I'm not a lawyer. I got nothing
No.
to say. I shouldn't even be saying that because I'm not a lawyer.
No.
I can't give any advice on it. That's just personal speculation.
Right. This is all this is. None of us are legal professionals, medical professionals. I'm retired. I'm not even a professional anymore. So
Nice.
can't speak for that. Now, Dave Roser says on Ernie's interview, he says that they contacted you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we talked to them. We talked together. Yeah.
Okay.
Ernie and Justin and I did talk at one point. Yep.
Okay. Just wanted to get, all right.
Yeah. It was very, very recently. Very, very recently.
Oh, well then, all right. I think you've heard some of my opinions on this. I'll be polite and say situation, because I'm going to call it like this shitbag. But
what did Tim Cass call it? The shitstorm in Lake Geneva?
Yeah, something. Okay. Listen,
that was
Tim has no filter. Tim has no filter. I love the man.
I love him. I know some people are like, he can be abrasive and stuff, but it makes me laugh. He's so smart and funny, and you gotta love Tim, And he's a good guy. He does his best. Yeah.
Yeah. Does curmudgeon right.
He is the curmudgeon in the cellar. Yeah, he is. He is.
Yeah, that's the name of his YouTube channel, right? Curmudgeon in the cellar.
Yeah.
Or from the cellar, something like that. Yeah.
But I will say, I'm not saying how anybody else ought to feel. Everybody's got a right to feel however they feel. I personally, he's been a friend of mine for over a decade, and I think he's a good guy.
Listen, I don't know if I've told this story personally, but a couple of years ago at Game Hall, I saw Tim, and I've had many conversations with Tim. Tim is a great resource if you want to know how a 501(c) is run, which I was asking questions about. Oh my God. But Tim had just finished up chemo, and I had chemo for Hodgkin's about 15 years ago. Chemo brain is a thing, and it it can last months, years after you've had chemo.
Yeah, it's tough.
And Tim catches my eye, and he comes up to me, and you've seen Tim when he's pissed. So he comes up to me with a purpose.
Oh, I've seen Tim pissed at me. I've had Tim pissed at me when I did something he didn't like. Hell yeah.
You see, he's pissed at me in this case, and he starts tearing me a new asshole about how much he was supposed to get paid per word, and he's not doing it for. And I'm literally just going, what the? Went on for about 5 minutes, and he told me where to stick it. And Jim Wampler was the witness for this whole thing. So Tim walked away in anger, and I looked at Jim, and I'm like, Jim, what the hell just happened? He goes, it's the chemo. I'm like, okay, yeah, I kind of figured that. He goes, what was that? He goes, he's apparently upset with Bill Webb. I go, I look like Bill Webb? I'm not.
It wasn't even you. Oh my God.
No.
I thought. Oh my God.
No, it wasn't even me. Apparently, I was like, I'm not wearing Crocs and I'm not wearing a raincoat. How can you think I'm Bill Webb? And I'm much heavier than Bill. So I mean, Bill should be insulted that somebody thought that
you're also shorter.
I don't really know Bill. So I mean, I know the name, but I don't really know Bill. So.
Yeah. No, but he thought I was somebody.
Great guy.
Yeah, he thought it was somebody totally different. I was just like, okay. But now I can only imagine if I really deserved the wrath, how it must feel. Yeah. Because,
yeah. Oh, I mean that's good. This is one of the reasons I think Gygax Magazine was good, because if I did something boneheaded, he would give me his wrath. He wouldn't pull any punches, and it wasn't fun to go through, but it made us do a better job. You just try and leave a typo in a printed thing that Tim was involved in. You just try and leave a typo in there when it comes out. You see what he does to you.
I can believe it.
Yeah. He's like, didn't anybody edit this thing? Yeah, Tim.
Yeah, somebody did. I guess somebody didn't. Somebody failed on that one. Okay. Yeah, I can see that with Tim.
In the old. In the old when sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Continue.
No, just some side note. Go.
Continue with the side note,
no.
Glenn. All right.
All right. Well, people
I was going to say,
they're here to hear the TSR thing. So let's get the saga to the
yes,
to the
that's
big
why I
conclusion
said
of
go ahead.
What the heck are we doing?
Oh.
What the heck are we doing
right.
with it? Right.
Right.
All right. So here's the. Should I go ahead and say what we're doing with it now?
Go ahead. I am.
If you're allowed to.
Well, I'm
yeah.
ready to get everything in basically the order you shared it with me with. So
yeah,
we'll go.
We are now at the 1 hour. We're at the 1 hour mark. So I'll tell you what we're going to do. So, I'm not taking a position on what would happen if we decided to get in a whole big, legal fuss about trademarks and everything else. Because the truth of the matter is a couple of things. First of all, the gaming world does not need more drama. There's way too many people that just have a good time getting in fights and everything else, and I just don't think that that helps anybody. And I see, I think that's Brendan there telling us that there's people who are confused and they don't want to buy Top Secret because they think that we're them, and all this confusion is no good for anybody. So even if I said we want to keep on being TSR, and let's just say those other guys said we're stepping away, we're never going to do anything with it, it's all yours, sorry, whatever. We would the way I've been saying it to people is the name's got poop.
Done.
The name's got poop on it now. I don't want to wipe all that poop off it. And so the truth is, when we were doing TSR, it made total sense for this to be Gygax Magazine and TSR, and even Top Secret, because it used to be TSR, so those kind of make sense. And of course, we're still doing Top Secret, but going forward, it also carries baggage. It means that everybody expects us to always be doing old school stuff, and not everybody even knows what the name is. And so we're like, you know what? This is the time. We're going to change our name. We're going to go. We've got a brand new name. We got a new website and everything. So it is Solarian. We are now called Solarian. Our website is up at solariangames.com. That's it. All right. Look at this logo. That is our cool new logo.
Hey, pretty.
I love it.
Nice.
It's got that 70s sci-fi feel.
It actually does.
Kind of retro thing going here.
Mm-hmm. Because we're doing new school story game and stuff like that, but I always want to keep what I love. I love that aesthetic, and I love that the name kind of feels like something that Stanley Kubrick might have included in something. So Solarian.
I'm thinking you should now. I'm thinking you should now put out like Logan's Run, the role-playing game with that logo on it.
Oh my God, I would totally do that. That would be amazing. That would be amazing. Are you able to share our website on the screen? Does that work? Is that a thing you can do? Showing it? Because we actually have all of our games up there now. So Solarian is a 3-way partnership between me, Peter Bryant, and James Carpio. We are equal partners in this, and so we're bringing games that we did with TSR, with with Chapter 13 Press, and others. So if you go to solariangames.com, we've got a ton of games already up there that you can buy. So, and we have a ton of more things coming soon too. And when I say soon, I mean like in the next couple of months soon. Stuff that's basically done.
All right. Took me. Apparently, I couldn't cheat. Cool. Just type in Solarian. So, folks, unless you're looking for floor covering, it's Solarian Games.
Solarian Games. I know if Armstrong Flooring ever wants to sell us the name, if anybody here works at Armstrong, tell them they should let us have the name. But no, Solarian. So there it is. There's our new website with all our games.
All right. So now
we got 12 games already, guys.
All right,
so just games or just supplements?
No, well, okay, so let me just really quickly go across here. So Top Secret is Top Secret, of course. Anarchy and Boombox are 2 games that are coming out soon. They're kind of similar. They're both kind of 80s themed. Anarchy is more punk, and Boombox is more kind of everything 80s, and it's story games where you can, in Boombox, you can get to make a mixtape and become like a goth or a punk or a hip-hop kid. And then we've got Cube of Death, which I think people might have played at conventions. We used to have a podcast called Cube of Death. It's a trivia RPG. You go on a dungeon crawl and you fight the monsters by answering trivia questions.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, then we've got The Hunt, which is something that Leo Normington Jr. created in the 90s. We're still selling. I've got some copies of it here. This is a game that we're still selling the back stock from 90s. How do I do this? There we go. But we're also coming out with a brand. Oh, you do? You played it?
Yeah. Well, no, I've seen it.
Okay.
But I remember seeing it on the shelves.
It's kind of like Running Man with Arnold Schwarzenegger as an RPG. So we've got a new version of that that's almost ready.
Okay.
And then, of course, we still have Pantheon, which is accessories. I just showed you the $5 things. We've got Tales from the Fallen Empire, which is a dungeon crawl classic setting. We've got Pulp Era, of course, which is, kind of two-fisted pulp stuff.
Sold.
One of the things, we even have a chess variant. Yeah. So, and then the last thing I want to say on there is the last thing you see there is called Weird Horror. That is one that Tim Hutchings, who did 10,000-Year-Old Vampire, he and I found this game in a suitcase in an attic. We found copies of these 100-year-old games, and with all of the mysterious things included in there as well. Or did we? And so that's one that it's already sold out. We sold them to all the 1,000-Year-Old Vampire backers, but we're going to do a hardcover book of that sold out version. So that's some of the stuff that we've got right off the bat.
Damn, you guys are coming out of the gate ready to go.
Yeah, we're not selling anything in a Ziploc bag with some Xerox on it. We got games.
Well, that would be really retro if you did, though, I gotta say. I mean,
well, we would do our own. But I just want to answer.
It could be like cheap-ass games,
Oh, cheap-ass is cool. Yeah, I like those guys. Somebody asked, what are we doing with the TSR name? We are dissolving the old TSR. We're not going down that path anymore. We still sell the inventory that we have because it's got the name on there. We can sell it off, but it's all about Solarian now. That's all the new stuff. And if people have cool ideas for games they want to do, we're even listening to new ideas too.
That's cool.
Cool.
So this is kind of not to be too dramatic. This is almost like a rebirth. It's like
yeah. The slogan we were going with was "It's a new dawn. It's a new day."
Well, not for nothing. I think that in my humble opinion, of course I could be wrong, but I think that TSR 2.0 got a lot better publicity out of the dumpster fire that's going on right now than the latest version or incarnation or you guys have really handled the situation with a word I hate to use. Professionalism, because this isn't a professional podcast.
I mean, really quickly, some people are trying to find the website, and I know it's totally not going to rank in Google yet because we literally put it up we finished it 15 minutes before the show, but it's solariangames.com, and we'll be plastering that as much as we can.
Yeah, I am going to put it into the chat. Give me a second.
Yeah. And please forgive us if the site's not super rich yet, because we're brand new. We were thinking about doing this, but this kind of forced our hand to go faster. So, please treat us kindly. I don't know.
I'll make sure that the link is also in the basically the show notes or whatever YouTube calls it, the description, I guess. I'll make sure the link resides in there for people who watch this after the live show. But no, this looks good. The $5 books, I was actually looking at them the other day on the I guess it was still the TSR website, or was it redirecting at that point?
We haven't shut the other sites down yet. So like in the Solarian site, if you go to the store or whatever, it'll take you to the TSR store for now. We're going to rebrand it tonight with the Solarian logo, and it'll take a couple of weeks for us to move everything over. Okay,
because I was looking at those and going, these look good, and not for nothing. It's that price point where you tell yourself, why am I not picking this up? I mean, if you saw it at a convention, you'd snag it from the table and say, "Take my money."
Yeah.
I'm walking off with it.
Well, let me show you what you get for $5. So here's Jim Ward's one that he did for us. So this is a Metamorphosis Alpha game called They All Died at the International Space Station. And not only do you get the adventure, you even get a little fold-out of the International Space Station to go with it. You know,
Nice.
with Merle Rasmussen's, I've lost the fold-out, but there's a fold-out for that. We've got Nat Damp, which is a system neutral one, and we even have one that I couldn't find a copy of right now because I think I sold out, called Fox Hunt, which is for Godlike. And I should tell people, the big stuff we ship from a warehouse on the East Coast, but some of these little things, like the $5 stuff, it ships from my house. So sometimes they sell out kind of quickly and I have to make more. So I apologize if the store sells out. It'll usually be back up within a few weeks as I just go get more made. That's how $5 things work. You gotta do them on the cheap.
Oh God, yeah. Believe me, I understand that completely.
Yeah.
But I mean, they're at the impulse buy level, and they're a great way to see the kind of quality writing that folks will be looking at the higher price stuff. So if you haven't figured it out already, folks, that's the best way to go shopping at a lot of these companies. If you're like, oh my God, Frog Guy puts out these $100 books, buy a $10 adventure, module, and see if you like the style. This is give you a great insight into Jason's Solarian company and see if their products are what you want.
We're gonna keep trying to do some things like that. So, for example, with Top Secret, it's running. We created a game engine for it called Lucky 13. James Carpio wrote this rule set, and it's really adaptable because it's basically a die pool. You don't have to do any math. The better you get at something, the bigger the dice you get, right? The more sides. And so we're going to try just putting out some little $5 rule sets for Lucky 13 where we say, what if Lucky 13 was fantasy? What if it was sci-fi? And then if people like it, then that tells us maybe we should put more money into building something better. So we'll try more little easy things. And I see people saying we should do some preview pages. I totally agree. We just got the site up today, so we'll definitely get more of that, more preview pages and stuff up there.
Apparently, somebody has a credit from Gygax Magazine he wants to use.
Oh yeah, we'll honor it. We because we issued credits for some people whose subscriptions didn't finish. So mostly people have used them to buy stuff like Top Secret or whatever. But we will honor it on any product.
Well, that's solid.
Cool. That's good. That's good.
Yeah,
that's a good thing.
So, do you have any big? Well, maybe you can't announce it. I was gonna say, would you have any big projects coming up? Maybe a Kickstarter, or is that too far out for us to be tapping away at?
Maybe. So right now I'm being a little bit hesitant about Kickstarters. I'm trying to focus on just having cheaper things that we can fund ourselves.
Right.
I think the next time we kickstart something, I mean, it's just better. But that doesn't. I think the next time we kickstart something, it's going to be for Cube of Death, because that's actually, it's a card game. It's really not easy to just print those for nothing. So that's probably going to be the next Kickstarter we do. We're currently in the process of moving from our current fulfillment place. We're moving over to Ad Magic and Black Box. Because they're really good at card games and all that other kind of stuff. So I think Cube of Death will probably kickstart in the fall.
Oh.
You and me both, Mark. I'd love to try out Lucky 13.
Oh, and I got to say, I just want to plug Mark, because Gangbusters is the Gangbusters that he's done is so amazing. I really think everybody needs to go and buy everything he's got. So yeah,
listen
Mark,
to this man.
No, for real. Mark, if you ever want to do something together, I mean, one thing I'm going to tell our private conversations. I asked Mark if we could maybe publish some stuff for Gangbusters, if we could write some stuff for his world, and he seems open to the idea. So, that'll be fun to do too.
Yeah,
nice.
He's a great guy. I'm doing some artwork for him, and I roomed with him, and he's just got tons and tons of ideas for this.
Oh yeah, I mean that's how you can tell when. David just gave us a good point about watching the search engines. Thank you. I'm just saying, you can tell when somebody's, really a gamer, when somebody like Mark, when it's just like, you just see the love of Gangbusters in there and what he did to bring this back for people. And there's other people that do stuff like that too. It's really cool. It's just really cool. It's the cool thing with this hobby is I feel like
that's what gives
everybody in this group, I either already know that I'm seeing on the thing, I either already know, or I'm going to see him at a convention at some point. We're going to hang out. So that's great.
Yeah, this is
that kind of thing makes me all excited to be in the hobby again.
Yeah.
And not for nothing with the current or the recent drama that we've experienced as a community. This is the type of stuff that I want to highlight. This is the stuff when you look at on the screen and you see the stuff that Jayson and co are doing. That's the stuff that we should be looking at, and it's stuff like this that should be the focus, and not the noise. Try to find a signal for the noise.
I'll tell you, I one of the reasons I picked the name Solarian is I felt like it also felt positive. It just, I don't know why it feels positive, but it feels like a positive name. And I kind of dig that. So.
Oh, definitely, and it really does have a Logan's Run, Soylent Green type of look to it.
I love 70s sci-fi. 70s sci-fi is my favorite. It's so good.
If you never know. Maybe you want to put together a 70s sci-fi engine.
That would be fun. If anybody's got an idea, let's talk about it.
Because
just watched one the other day.
What'd you watch?
Well, I've got a whole shelf of like old Mill Creek movies, the old exploitation stuff, and I watched Welcome to Blood City.
Oh my gosh, I don't know what that is.
Really weird. It was starred Jack Palance, and it's basically a Westworld ripoff.
Oh, okay, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, just look it up. Welcome to Blood City. Look it up. You'll probably enjoy it. It's nice and cheesy.
I just been starting to get into that Canadian series, the one where they're on. Oh heck, now the Star Lost.
Oh, that's pretty old. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's from the 70s. There's a series. So I'm just getting started, so spoilers would be around. And but anyways, yeah. That whole era is fun. But we're doing new school stuff. I will tell you privately about the party game that we're working on that might be kind of fun, but I'll save that for later. But yeah. I mean, I think it's fun stuff. It gives us a chance. Being Solarian now, we don't have to worry about does it count as old school or whatever. We can do something goofy like Boombox, where it's all about becoming a punk and making a mixtape. Why can't that be a role playing game? So.
Mark says he'll hit you up to make a mini game for the 70s sci-fi genre.
Nice.
That is something, Mark. You're between the two of you together is going to be really scary, because I'm picturing a final result just having met Mark for the first time at North Texas.
I like to write. I like to write adventures when I do GMing, and I like to start with the title. It's like, Mark, if you could make an adventure from Boombox called Video Killed the Radio Star, I think that would sell.
That would be awesome. Yeah, I mean, I'm just kind of thinking like a 70s sci-fi themed thing, but you could do it like Life on Mars, so you could do it with the Gangbusters engine. So you could have sci-fi and you could have Gangbusters in the 70s.
Space 1999, yeah.
Nice.
Oh, yeah. So all kinds of ideas on that page right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, George, we're glad that you want to get back into the creative side of the business again.
Yeah, man.
George
and I had
jump back in the pool.
Had a nice talk the other day. I think he should do it.
Yeah, White Wolf was an excellent magazine back in the day, and it was
my understanding is that for George he'd be doing stuff that would not be White Wolf from the
but it covered a lot of different stuff. I mean, I used to read them all. I used to read the White Wolf, Different Worlds, Space Gamer, because you couldn't get enough, right? You wanted them all. And Dragon Magazine only came out 9-10 times a year, so you needed to fill in the gaps with other stuff.
I wonder if we're getting, because you got so much stuff from magazines back then. I don't think we get the same quality of things by just going on the internet. I feel like we've lost out by losing all those magazines.
I would say that we've certainly lost out
that
on
may
the
be
tactile
correct.
field. Yeah, we have. I think that if you could weed out the stuff, we have more quality stuff now than we did back then. But there's just so much more of it that it's hard to find the quality sometimes.
You got to dig through the noise. Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and that's part of the reason why I really don't do too many game reviews, because I don't think I'm the best at digging through the noise, and there's more people that are more skilled at doing that than I am.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But I will say that there's a ton of stuff. This is the thing. I don't know why people don't want to. Some people, they only want to go with old school or whatever. But if you look at what gamers who are like teenage and their 20s and stuff are writing, it is so inventive and different. I think people really ought to kind of put aside some of their preconceived notions and check out what some of the really young designers are doing. It's amazing that there's 18-year-olds that want to do tabletop role-playing writing still, and we should totally encourage.
Isn't it great?
It doesn't. Yeah. They
I got
don't have to do it the way. They don't have to do it the way that we did it in the 80s or the 90s. That'd be stupid. Let them do the new way.
Yeah. It has to evolve.
My grandson Gage, he's 17. He's been playing since he was 9. Unfortunately, the 5e bug got him. So, but we can still talk old school. He loves it.
Yeah,
he got in there and he just went in with both feet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it was great.
I played a session of Star Wars D6 with
That's right.
Glen's grandson. And first, I didn't know it was your grandson because I hadn't seen him in 2 years, and I was like, "Who's this young man?" It's like Wait, this is Gage? Not that?
But I mean, like, I saw this one role-playing game that somebody put up on itch, itch.io, which is a good place to find a lot of these. Somebody did one where the entire game is about working at the mall. Like, that's the role-playing game. And I dug into it, and it's really rules light, and it's got all these things where you can get like fired from Sbarro's or whatever, But it was a ton of fun to try out, So there's really unique ideas going on. Don't worry, Dave. We will put more of those up. I'm gonna. It might be like a 2 or 3 weeks for them to get printed and sent out. So I'll put more of them up.
Good. I think I was looking for that one myself.
Yeah, it's a really good one. It's a really good one. Well, it's Jim Ward. Jim Ward writes great adventures, so that that's the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, this is good, man.
Yeah, that's right. It may.
And I
this is
gotta say, we've had a very chatty live audience.
Yeah,
yes,
awesome.
we have.
It's rough.
That's
I'm
what
just
I said.
trying to keep up. I'm just trying to keep up, man.
Yeah.
That's why I said give the people what they want.
Yes, it's like the Renaissance is pretty much in times. Again, we mentioned this earlier, where you can still find some things that resemble magazines. I believe Broadsword was supposedly like a magazine for 5e. I'm not even sure if it's still
that's cool. I haven't heard of
published. Yeah, it was kickstarted, and it was actually like a hardcover magazine. But I really think that zines allow a small crew to put together content that you would have seen in a magazine.
Yeah.
And that is certainly part of the secret, because I mean, the vast majority of content creators, whether it's the OSR or beyond, they do this on the side. This isn't their money making gig.
You're not going to get rich. Yeah. You're not getting rich doing this.
No,
not at all.
I mean, those that do have found their niche, and it's usually either on Kickstarter or their 2 million followers. But it's doing things like we're gonna do our live 5e game session. No, you're doing your acting with voice actors.
Yeah.
Whatever,
I don't watch it, but I get how it brings people into the hobby and can be fun for people. So
and that's fine. And again, it's different strokes for different folks. When I came back to the hobby, I had about 10 years or so where I bought occasional books, never gamed. I came back. I was playing Dark Heresy, the Warhammer.
Oh, Fantasy. I love that game. Dark Heresy is so fun.
Yeah. Played it on Fantasy Ground. No voice. It was all text, and it was a great group. And then I did some Castles and Crusades. Awesome. But at the same time, I
love Castles and Crusades.
I was buying games that I didn't get a chance to run, but I enjoyed reading, like Spirit of the Century. And
I wish I could run half.
Had that, got rid of it.
I mean, there are.
No.
I mean, although I've got my feet solidly in the OSR, I appreciate the other games that are out there. And there's other games that I would just love to play. Maybe not run, because I running a game well needs a certain investment to learn the rules. Yeah. But your $5 games, that's something like you go, I can sit down and learn that well enough to run this, probably like an hour or two, and that's great. Whereas a full-size game like Spirit of the Century, you'd be like, well, I probably got to read this for about a week to make sure I know it well enough to give my group an enjoyable time. And at my age, I don't usually have that kind of investment in me. But I'll read that stuff for.
I love super crunchy games. I love a super crunchy game, but at this point, it's got to be one I already know. Mostly.
Yeah.
How do you track strawberries and millennials to old school, though? I'm going to tell you right. How do you attract strawberries? I don't know what strawberries refers to, but millennials.
Strawberries.
Yeah, neither do I.
Snowflakes.
Snowflakes. All right. To old school.
Well, I got an answer for that one.
Tell you the truth.
Well, the first thing you do to attract young people to old school is you got to make sure there's nobody there that's making fun of them for being young. I mean, as soon as you got somebody who's like, oh, look at these snowflakes with their X cards and they've got genders. It's like, dude, just let people be people, and they're going to come play your game if you respect them. So, I mean, there's a ton of cool old school Renaissance stuff that people will get into. But you've got to be on the same level. You got to like treat people right.
Yeah.
And there are some really cool old school groups on Facebook, like I'm going to get the name wrong, but the ones that are not stuck in, weird attitudes, where people are just being fun. So yeah, I think you can get people into it.
Yeah, and I think again a lot of it too is you got to lower the bar to entry. I mean, I've told the story, and I'll just touch on it real quick. Gary Con a couple of years ago, I was told literally at game time that for Frog Out Games, the 5e group for Rappanathic, Mouth of Doom, had no DM because he got snowed out and he never made it to the con. And I was running 5e.
Mm-hmm.
I don't run 5e. I read the rules once. Never played it. Don't run it. But I grabbed the Swords and Wizardry Light rules and brought them to the table and said, listen, explain situation, 4 pages of rules. Everybody gets to roll a character. If you're not comfortable with this, no hard feelings if you want to walk away. Full table, one person walked away. And then one person went, oh, there's a free seat. So I had a full table again.
Nice.
And when we wrapped up, of that table of 8, 2 people at the end of the game went to the Frog Guard table and picked up Swords and Wizardry, and then 2 came by the next day to thank me and picked up Swords and Wizardry. I'm not going to say these people are going to be like, oh, we're going to play this only, but they found an alternative. Oh, you know what? There are times we don't want to play something as rules bound, and there's sometimes you do. I mean, you want something a bit less heavy, and sometimes you want something with a bit more crunch. That's
Eric,
fine.
Yeah.
Eric. By the way, I just got a notice. Ralph wants to join Tenkar's Tavern on Facebook.
Oh, okay. Wait, see,
just to let you know, we're having a positive effect here.
All right. Well, when we get off this,
effect.
I will go to the Tenkar's Tavern community on Facebook and probably approve the handful of people that hopefully are going there for a calmer, gaming experience right now when it comes to talking about the stuff like
adult discussion of role-playing games.
No. We can have childish discussion of role-playing games. I just don't want adult issues.
That's already going on. That's also already going on in the other group.
Yeah, we just,
you spent all this time talking about. You spent all this time talking about zines. You didn't mention Torchlight.
I'm not here to pimp my stuff, but Torchlight should be out maybe within a week or so. It's gone to it's gone through layout, editing, back to the final layout. I had to find some art. So James Shields, if you want a Patreon to back James Shields, does some amazing artwork that you'll get for backing his Patreon. So
I got to crank some out for you too. So
yes, but I love James.
He has good stuff. He has good stuff.
Yeah, but
I killed the conversation.
I can pimp myself anytime, but I can always.
Well, you're pimping me. You're pimping. I mean, I could pimp Radio Grognard all I want to, or Thaco's Amber, but I don't. So when you're pimping, you're pimping me too. So
I know.
Anyway,
but I got to say, it's funny. Even putting together a small zine, 32 pages, is a lot of moving parts, and it's a lot of people that are involved in the process.
It's a lot of work. It really is.
And when I first thought about doing a zine, I was like, oh, I could do this myself. And then you sit there months later going, I don't think I can do this myself.
Yeah.
And then I was blessed. A good team got assembled, and really, it would be nothing without the. I am not needed. It's like the figurehead. The team behind it is really puts all the moving parts together and makes it into a wonderful presentation. So I'm
good
really
idea.
Very happy.
Cool. That's really
but,
cool.
I mean, again, Jayson, as you have new projects coming out, please, you know how to reach me.
I'll drop by anytime. You bet.
I'm happy.
And maybe James and Peter will drop by too. We were deciding whether all three of us had come on, and we just were like, well, that's going to get too noisy. But it's an equal partnership between me and James and Peter. It's the three of us.
All right. Well, listen, we're happy to have any and all on. Please, this is literally what the community wants to know. They want to know about the news events and what's going on, and they don't necessarily always want to hear it from my mouth. They want to hear from the people that are the movers and the shakers.
Yeah.
And that's why we have a very full live stream right now. And I want to thank everybody that's watching now or watching later. This is the reason why Glenn and I do this stuff, or me and Mike, or me and Joe, to get the events out there, to get the news out there. And so you get it from the horse's mouth. It's a nice time you don't have to hear it and go, oh, well, it's a he said, she said, and then I heard that somebody said. No, you heard it right from Jayson. Yeah. Okay, so this and again, looking at your screen, you can see what's coming up from Jayson and company. And to me, I'm very happy with this.
And most of that stuff you can buy right now. There's just a couple that are still upcoming. But yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, I'm super excited about Boombox though. I got to show you one thing really quickly. Hold on. I just realized I had when you play Boombox, you actually go down and this is the board that I've got set up so far. You actually go down and hang out at like the at Zipperhead or the Bat Cave or 99th floor, and you've got to go around and like move your little punks and everything. So it's even gonna let you use miniatures if you want.
That's
so
cute.
It's gonna the idea of doing a punk rock RPG is just hilarious to me. So I'm excited about it.
Like you said, I saw the Ramones multiple times live, and to me that was.
You were probably actually at CBGB's, I guess.
Lemoore East, CBGB's, Lemoore in Brooklyn. Yeah, it's like, oh, and initially I wasn't a Ramones fan. My friend was, but he wouldn't go any of these places by himself. So I was always like, oh, I'll pay for you. Like, oh, well, if you're gonna pay for me, I'll go.
Man.
And then it's like, oh my God, now I found myself buying the cassette tapes. I guess I'm a fan of the Ramones, but they don't sound the same on the tape as they do live, unless you speed the tape up, because they would play songs and it's like, wow, that was like 30 seconds. That was Judy was a punk is already over. Okay, so
you're way cooler than me. I didn't get to go to any.
I had a girlfriend where we had a tape of Stop Making Sense and we wore that thing out. So yeah, I know what you're talking about.
All right, here I'm gonna make that true confession. I wore out one tape twice. Had to buy it a total of 3 times, and it isn't a good tape.
Which
At least
one?
Not in merchant.
Oh yeah.
Survivor Vital Signs.
Oh my God. Okay, yeah, that is a true confession time.
That is a true confession. I was just like, I remember the first time the tape died, I was like, I gotta buy a new one. And then it died again. I gotta buy another one, and then I stopped playing it. Thank God. It was like,
yeah.
I was like, all right.
Our high school team was the Tigers, so of course in marching band we had to play "Eye of the Tiger," and so I don't need.
Eye of the Tiger.
Oh God, yeah. Now the tape that I wore out, the one that I had to buy a second time, was Black Flag in my head. It was the first punk tape I ever bought, and I didn't know what punk was. I just couldn't get over it. I just listened to that exact tape for like a year until it broke. Yeah. I don't know. Somebody said they were glad TSR is back. Well, we're Solarian, so take that.
Right.
We're glad Solarian is there. How about that?
That sounds nice.
Take this for what you will. I will state that this is my opinion, but TSR effectively ceased to be as I knew it back in '85 when Gary got ousted. It certainly ceased once Wizards of the Coast snagged the company back in the late '90s.
They saved the company, really. They saved it.
They did.
It was.
TSR
was like minutes away from imploding, and Peter saved the hobby. He did.
Oh, no, he snatched it from the jaws of death.
He really did. He really did. He did a great thing.
And then they gave us the OGL in a lot of ways that all since that is history.
Oh yeah.
But
that's the one thing that 3 I really thank it for.
Yeah. But that was but that was what TSR was.
Yes.
The TSR you have now, nobody associated with the 3rd edition or 3rd iteration of TSR was a creative engine at TSR. These were not the game designers. Okay, so to say that they're back is no, sorry, but whatever.
We're happy to stand on our own 2 feet and do our own new things, and we just really hope that people like it, and we're going to live or die by how much we make it fun to play a game. That's what it's going to come down to. Is it fun or not?
And that's what it should be.
The hobby goes on.
Yeah. And
the hobby goes on.
When you look at it, like I said, SolarianGames.com. If you see anything about flooring, you're at the wrong site. This is what you should see. Okay?
Right, exactly.
But Jayson, I can't thank you enough for joining Glenn and I tonight. It really
thank you guys
was good.
for having me
thanks
on.
for coming by.
Thank you. It was really nice of you to have me. I appreciate it, and I'm always happy to drop by and have a flag in it. Have a flag in at the tavern.
Well, again, our community.
Oh yeah.
The community in general had questions. So it's great to be able to get the answers to those questions and clear some stuff up, so folks don't go, oh, so new TSR and newer TSR, are they still TSR? No, last generation TSR 2.0 is no longer TSR. going forward.
It's no longer
right,
my
folks.
problem. I don't got to worry about that stuff now.
Gonna wash your hands of it. It's somebody else's bag of shit, and they stepped in it. They can keep it. Folks, as always, when we do these sign outs, we're still in the midst of the world of the pandemic. Nobody here is a medical professional. I'm going to suggest that you use your common sense to keep yourself, your loved ones, your family healthy and safe. Talk to a medical professional that you trust, that you have faith in, and get their opinion. That's all. Ignore the talking heads, because the talking heads don't know shit. Be safe, be well, God bless. Roll those dice. Knock on wood. I'll be back again tomorrow with a live stream at 8 p.m. with my wife, Rage for Gamers Health. All right, folks. On that note, we're out.
Bye-bye.